In the trunk tank, an old man said to me.
Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic and a brand new puzzle called Deflection by Myxo. And Myxo, you've got Blobs to thank for this one. Blobs sent us an email this morning. Blobs, of course, is another constructor, saying that this is a magnificent puzzle. I happened to click on the email and I went to the Logic Masters Germany page. I read the rules and thought, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I just have to do that. So this has jumped the queue somewhat. And I apologise to everything in the queue behind it. But I just, it just struck me as amazing that this could work. And and I'm looking forward to trying it. Basically, it involves mirrors, I suppose they might be called, in the grid. So these, like this diagonal here, has to add up to 10. But it might have a cell on it that deflects it into other parts of the grid. So it sounds really, really cool. And I'll read the rules in just a moment or two. I've got one birthday to do today. So Daphne and your friend, or your best friend, Lee, I think, you share the same birthday. And I believe you can't be together today because you're on other sides of the pond, which I presume means the Atlantic in this context. I wish you both a very happy birthday. Daphne signed the email Dirty 30, Daphne. So does that mean you're 30 today? It might do. I gather you're having spice cake as well, which is a dreadful, dreadful choice. I mean, you really need to have chocolate cake on your birthday. Maybe Lee will correct that. But anyway, I hope you both have a splendid day today. The only other thing to mention is we've got loads going on over on Patreon at the moment. We hope we're going to be able to bring you the Phistomefel Sudoku hunt just before Christmas, so keep an eye out for that. We've got my solve of Tallcat's Shadow Puzzle. I'm obviously in a different place on my screen again today. Skyscraper Cave Sudoku Hybrid that melts your brain. We've got Mark's solve of a recent vicious cryptic crossword, and of course we have the Cryptic Scriptures of the Secret Snake Society Sudoku Hunt, which has been garnering the most incredible response. And I'm going to say congratulations to more correct solvers. Andrew Payne, Argyro Giacomacchi, and boyfriend Sam. It sounded like Argyro did most of the work, but Sam made a crucial breakthrough and therefore got credit. So it sounds like a sort of academic paper type arrangement you have going on. But well done to the pair of you. Jean-Yves Carrier, James Farrer, Casey Bell, Harry Dorsey, Walter Matthews, Dr. B's and D's Puzzle Consortium, David Anderson, Michelle van der Schaaf, Michael Stranieri, Ian Shade, Gareth Thomas, Chuck Simmons and Sampath Kumar. All of you sent in the correct entries. Very well done. And you probably sent those entries many days ago because we've been getting so many correct solutions. It's fantastic. But let's have a look at Deflection by Myxo, and I will read you these rather original rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Each row, column and box contains exactly one deflection cell. Each deflection cell contains a different digit. Clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits on the indicated diagonal. Digits may repeat along this sum. When a diagonal hits a deflection cell, the diagonal gets deflected clockwise by 90 degrees, i.e. it makes a right turn. If a diagonal passes the same cell multiple times, that cell's value is counted multiple times towards the clue sum. So there's going to be, let's just try and figure this out. So imagine that cell was a deflection cell. Then this 10 diagonal would go along here until it hit this cell. And then it would turn, now let me get this right, it's got to turn right from the direction it's going. So it's then going to go that way, I think. Where? Let's be honest. It could hit another deflection cell and then turn right again. So, and then go up there. Well, then it couldn't hit another deflection cell because you can only have one deflection cell in every box. But you can see that there is some absolute magic possible here. And I guess that's why there aren't many clues in the puzzle, although there's one that seems to stand out rather starkly, a 135 clue. Anyway, let's have a go. The way to play, you can have a go too. The way to play is to click the link under the video. That will take you to a page that looks identical to the one I'm faced with here. And you can play the puzzle on whichever device takes your fancy. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I'm guessing we either start with this enormous clue or we start with the 6th clue. Now, let me think about that for a moment. The 135 clue, well, we know it's going to hit a deflection cell, don't we? Because if it didn't, the maximum those 6 cells could sum to would be 48 by putting 9, 8 and 7 into each box on the diagonal. 48 is less than 135, so there's going to be a deflector along here somewhere. And Okay, I can already see something quite interesting, because remember that when we hit the deflector cell, we're going to turn right. So if we turned right here, we're going to start going this way, and we'll never get out. We'll never get out of this box before we reach a very tiny total. And that's because even if I put well, we could get out of the box, actually. I'm misspeaking. But we couldn't then get out of this box. Yeah, let's be careful here. We could turn right here. And then we could turn right again there. So we're now coming back on ourselves. But we can't then deflect from here, can we? Because that would be a second deflector in box 8. So, right. So we know that the 135 clue comes to at least this cell. And it can't get to that cell or it will hit the edge before it deflects. Yeah, and it can't turn there. Because if it turns there, it gets there, which can't be a deflector cell. So this is a deflector cell. That is definitely a deflector cell. And right, and then that's definitely a deflector cell. Because we're going to go along here like this until we hit this cell. Then we're going to turn down here. Now, if we carried on to here and deflected, we'd get we couldn't then deflect again in the same box. If this is a deflector cell, we can't repeat the deflecting trick in box 9. So that's too far. We're going to have to deflect down here, whoopsie, to here, which is going to have to be a deflector in order to get anywhere near our 135 total. So what's the maximum now? It's a bit difficult. Can I? Oh, I can. Sven's software is so clever. So now this is going to start going that way. I'm just going to check I've got these. Right turn. Right, yeah, that feels right, doesn't it? So as I'm coming back this way, I turn right, yes. So, right, so how many could I possibly have on this line so far? I could... Oh, and that cell, hang on, I've just noticed something about this cell, which is not a deflector cell, but it is on the path twice. Jump, 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 jump. Jump, 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 back to visit this one again. So the absolute maximum I could have now would be, if I make those cells 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 in some order, so they would add up to 35, but that's counted twice, so that's 44. So we've got 44 here. Oh, we're nowhere near, we're nowhere near 135. Okay. So even if I make this sort of 9 and this a 9-8 pair, with this line's still got to go a lot further. So let's just check that out. Oh, that's right. We're going to run into the 10 clue. So imagine that there was no deflector in this diagonal in any of those 3 cells. Well, then the 10 clue would go dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum and hit this cell and this cell and this cell, where it would add up to more than 10. So there is definitely a deflector here, which we could have, I think, appreciated if I'd continued doing the maths, because I think this 135 is basically going to go all around the grid. Now, do we... Oh, hang on. I know what I should do, because I've just realised that can't be a deflector. Right. We're going to try and keep track of where deflectors can be. This is lovely already, isn't it? It's not very difficult yet, but I don't mind that because it's so original and interesting. Now, because you can't repeat a deflector in in a box, in a row, or in a column, I want to say none of those cells there can be a deflector cell. Because if any of these were deflector cells, we would have a problem with a repeated deflector in a row or column or box. So as we enter this cell, going along our 135 clue, we have to pass through it. Now, if this was a deflector cell, what's that doing? That's weird. That is weird. So from the point of view of the 135 clue, that could be the deflector cell, which would send us off in this direction. And that's great, because we know the 135, we need to keep it going for as long as we can. But from the other direction, if this is a deflector cell, as we enter from this position here along the 10 diagonal, we'd immediately turn right and go off the grid, wouldn't we? So a right turn from this direction takes us off the grid, and that would require this cell to be a 10, which it clearly cannot be. So I think that implies that this is the deflector cell, which means the 10 clue comes here, whoopsie, and then turns right, and then that can't be a deflector cell, whereas the 135 clue turns right coming from this direction and then must go at least to here, because this cell can't be a deflector cell again. So all of those turn green, all of these turn green, all of these turn green. We've got 4 deflectors definitely located now, and now we've got to be careful with the 6 clue. So from this direction, if we turn right, we're going to go off the grid here, which we probably have to do. Yes, yeah. How could this... Well, let's start with something very simple. How could the 6 clue continue all the way to here? Well, it can't, because these 3 cells, if we make them a 1, 2, 3 triple, they would already sum to 6. So we can't start coming here as well, or we're going to beat our total of 6. So one of those 2 is definitely a deflector. Now, if it was this one, again, we could minimize these at 1, 2, 3, but we're then going to take that cell and break the bust. We're going to go bust. If we were playing pontoon or blackjack in the casino, it would be bad, and we don't want to go bust. So that means I think that is the deflector, and that means the 6 clue goes in here and turns right where it must end, whereas the 135 clue is making a bigger trip. Oh, no, it's not. Right. The 135 clue now. So let's just trace its path. It's come up here, down here, up here, hits this cell where it turns right, and there are no more possibilities for deflectors. So it must then go off the grid. So somehow that path that we've just drawn has to add up to 135. Now let's do some more greening of what we've just found there. So we can green all of these. I want that to hit the edge of the grid, because I just want it to. How do I make it do that? I don't know. Maybe it won't do it. Oh no, it did do it, so it should do it there as well. Yeah, there we go. How weird. Right, oh look, I see what I can do here. Well, that's got to be a deflector cell, because I've just realised that's green. I need a deflector cell in box 5. Have I used all the clues up? I think I very nearly have, actually. Oh, the 15 clue I've not used up. So does that mean that needs to be a deflector? And if so, why? I've not got a Scooby-Doo. But I think what we're going to have to think about now is probably numbers. I need to get rid of these numbers, don't I? Because they are probably nonsense. I need to get this to the edge of the grid. And I can see I can do something with the 6 clue. Because, again, 6 in 3 cells with different digits. That must be a 1, 2, 3 triple. Okay, so the 15 clue now starts at least with a 4, 5 pair. Which means that if it does turn in that cell, it would have, that would be a 1, 2, 3 triple. That only just works. You get a 1, 2, 3 triple in row 1. That's if this is a turning cell, a deflector cell. If it's not a deflector cell, then those 3 digits have to add up to a maximum of 6. But here you could have a repeated digit, so that's going to be much easier to achieve. Okay. Oh dear then, so what do I need to do? I need to probably think about this. Hang on. So I'm just trying to work out what the 10... No, the 10 clue's going here, here and here, isn't it? So that's not under pressure. Oh, the 8 clue. I've not even thought about that. What's that doing? Oh. Oh, no, right. The 8 clue is interesting. I don't think I've looked at this at all. But the 8 clue... Because of what the 1, 3, 5 clue had to do, and this being a deflector cell, the 8 clue just enters the grid here and then leaves the grid again. So that's an 8, and we get a digit. Wow. The 18 clue has no deflectors on it. But that's a very middly total, isn't it? If you think about the average size of a Sudoku digit, it's 5. That's the middle digit in Sudoku. And if there are 5 cells there, so 25 is slightly low, but we could go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and that would be 7. So there's loads of degrees of freedom. Okay, yeah, it must be this 1, 3, 5 somehow. So is it... Well, let's try and maximize every single cell we can on this 1, 3, 5 clue and see what that sums up to. So in this box, I'm going to reinstate my 5, 6, 7, 9 now, with this being an 8. The maximum I could make that, I think, is 9. The maximum I could make that... Oh, I mustn't repeat digits, actually. Hang on. I mustn't repeat digits in deflectors, must I? I think it said... Yeah. Each deflection cell contains a different digit. So... Oh no, I've got to be more careful as well here. Hang on. I'm just thinking, I was just focusing on... But those digits are all on the path of the 1, 3, 5 as well. Right. Okay, let's start here then. The maximum they can be is 6, 7, 8 and 9. The maximum these two cells could be would be an 8 and a 9. The maximum, now we're taking those 3 cells, aren't we, in box 4, so 7, 8, 9 again. And if we made that a 3, we could make those probably an 8, 9 pair. I don't see immediately. We might be running into some problems with triples and quadruples here, I'm not sure. But... that it's something like this is the maximum. So let's see what this adds up to. We've got 44 there if I make this a 9. Let's just pencil that mark in to say, because that's the doubled square. So we've got 44 plus 17, that's 61. Plus 30 is 91. Plus another 24, that's 115. What am I trying to get to here? Well, it's it. Okay, we've done it. We've got 115 at the moment, and I haven't taken into account this box. And the maximum I could make those digits add up to is 20 if I make them an 8, 9 pair and put a 3 in there. So this is a maximum. This is going to give us loads of stuff. I like that. I like the fact that this ludicrous glue can actually be maxed out. Now, the other thing, right, so let's just make that 3. All these pencil marks are correct, but the other thing we need to bear in mind is we can't repeat digits in our red cells. So that cell's got to be a 9. That cell's not able to be 8 or 9 now because it would repeat. That cell's not able to be 8 or 9, so that's 7, which means this is 6. We get an 8, 9 pair here. We get all sorts of Sudoku. Outrageous being made to do Sudoku in this puzzle so early. We get all sorts of things going on. these squares can't be 9s anymore because we know we need to double the 9. And we can eliminate 3 from those 2 cells. My black line is a bit bold, isn't it? It's making it hard to see the pencil marks. I hope you guys can see them. Oh, the 10 clue comes in and hits a 7. So those 2 squares have to be a 1-2 pair. Because the 10 clue goes dup, dup, dup. So we can't have those squares adding up to, well, they need to add up to exactly 3, and that's only going to work one way. So now probably can we... I can't put a 1-2 pair here anymore. How was that? Oh no, hang on, I can't put a right, this is it. The 15 clue now is working for us, because those 2 squares, actually I was looking at this digit and saying, well, I can't make that a 1-2 pair now, but in fact there's a 1-2 pair in the box, so the minimum they could be would be a 3 and a 4, and we know the minimum they can be is a 4 and a 5. And that gives us 16, I think. 9 here, plus another 7. 16 is higher than 15. There is a knowledge bomb for you from cracking the cryptic. So this must not enter box 4, so that's got to deflect. Which means we now go... It's going into the corner. So it goes... So in fact, we now know what it is. Because these 2 squares have a minimum value of 4 and 5... Now these 2 squares have a maximum value of 6, those 3 squares there, so they must be a 1, 2, 3 triple. We mustn't repeat the 3 in the red cell, so the 3 goes... Okay, that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Very nice too. Let me think about this. So I've got sort of 1-2s. Do I know? I know these are different. I know these are different. I'm trying to see if I can somehow shade all of these 1s and 2s I've just got, but I don't think there's enough communication to do that. Right, let's carry on doing some reddening then. We'll greenify these cells. They can't be. So we get a deflector cell in the corner that no clue can hit. I've only not used the 18 clue, and that we know doesn't have a deflector on it. And that's a deflector as well. Okay, so this one and this one I don't think are involved in deflections. Let's draw in the path of the 15 just because I want to. That's really clever that I can do that. That is, well, apart from the 18 path, which we know is just going to go up like that, that's all of the paths drawn. I suppose I should really draw the 8 coming into the edge. That would be more technically correct. Okay, so that's it. That's all of the paths drawn. Which makes me wonder whether I actually need the paths. I sort of want to keep the paths just because it's amusing, but they are a bit distracting in terms of doing the Sudoku. I'll leave them there for a little while, and if I get stuck I'm going to take them away. Right, so what are these red cells then? We know that they can't be any... It is really hard to see them. I think I am going to get rid of the black markings. Sorry about this if you were partial to them. I was partial to them as well. But I can't actually see the numbers very well, and that's going to be important for doing this next step of the puzzle, I think. So we can... Oh, I don't know why that didn't get rid of all of that line, but it didn't. I think sometimes I must have done double lines or something. There we go. Right, so this is much cleaner now. It is actually easy to see, isn't it? So these red cells have got to be 1s, 2s, 4s and 5s, because I've got all the other digits in red cells, and that one can't be a 1 or a 2, so that's a 4 or a 5. And that one can't be a 1 or a 2, so that's a 4. Right, so that's a 4-5 pair. This is not now 4 or 5. So we've got a 1-2 pair here. And all right. Oh. No. Well, maybe. They are different, aren't they? Because they are both in red. And that is going to provide communication between my ones and twos. So that might be something I'm definitely, if I get stuck, I'm definitely looking at that. Because I can now colour my ones and twos. I can get that digit. That's a 9. That's an 8, just using the power of this digit here. And Sudoku of all things. Can we do any better than that? Where is 9? 9 is in one of those two positions. 8. 8 can't be in this corridor because there's an 8 already in this column, look. So 9 is the same. 9's got to almost hide in the corner in box 7. We can nearly do some stuff. Can we do... Oh, 7 is looking at that cell, so that's an 8. So this is now a 7-9 pair. 8 in box 3 could be placed by Sudoku. That's useful. Yeah. Where does 8 go in box 1? By Sudoku, because of this 8-9 pair, it goes exactly there. And that fixes 8 for me in box 7. How many 8s have we got? Very nearly all of them, but not quite all of them. We've still got to place one in the middle box, and we don't know where that goes. So we're sort of left with a little X-wing of 8s that we're going to have to figure out. 9 in box 1 has to go exactly there, which gives us 9 in box... Whoopsie, 9 in box 3, which gives us a 7 and a 9, which gives us a 9 and an 8, which unwinds the 8s. We've done all the 8s out of absolute nowhere. We've done the 9 in box 5 by Sudoku. Oh, this is good. Come on. How many 9s have I got? Loads. I should be able to get the last one. I can. It goes there. So that's all the 9s and all the 8s done. I've got... I know these two squares are a 6-7 pair because of Sudoku in this box. Now, can we unwind that? How many 7s have I got? 2. Apparently I've only got 2 7s. That doesn't feel right. I felt that I knew much more about 7s. Bother. Okay, let's carry on then. What's it going to be? I think I might want to come back and... Oh, the 18 diagonal. I need to do this, don't I? So what's this got on it? That they are a maximum of 4 and 3. That's 7. They are a maximum of 4 and 5. That's 9. That's 16. Oh, good grief. That's no use at all. This digit could be as low as 2. And I am not pencil mark, would immediately pencil mark this cell, but I'm only joking. But I'm not going to do that. Right, what is it then? Is it going to be... It's not 3s, is it? No, I've only got 2 of those. Right, let's colour the 1s and 2s, because I do feel that that's probably going to be a sensible thing to try. I think we can get rid of the greens now, can't we? We don't need the green highlighting anymore. We don't need the purple highlighting here. I mean, arguably, we don't need the red highlighting. Now we've got our deflectors sorted out. We know these are different. If I colour all these in to show they're different, then we could almost dispense with the red colouring as well, but that would seem a bit sad. So I'll try and keep it here for a bit longer. Let's make that one blue. We know these are different, so I now know that one's purple. I know that one's blue. That one must be blue by the power of elimination. If that one's blue, that one's purple, and that one's blue. So what is this telling us? It's telling us that there's a blue over here. There's a purple down here. Oh, come on. No. Well, no. Come on, Simon. I mean, I'm quite sure it's doing something. I just can't quite see it. I'm sorry, I can't quite see it. Okay. Let's try the 4s and the 5s then, perhaps. These have to be different. But I don't think I've got any other... Oh, right. Here is a beautiful bit of logic, actually. I was about to say I don't think I've got anything else, but I do have something else. Let's just make that yellow for a moment. And I'll make this one green. Now, we know these are different digits. So we know actually that this little cell here is yellow. That is a yellow version of 4, 5. Now look at this. If yellow was 4, where would you put 4 in this box? The answer is nowhere, because it would be eliminated from that cross of digits. So yellow is 5, and we are off and running again. 5, 4, 4. Hang on, what's that doing? 5's obviously fine because we've got 3 possible positions outside the central cross to put the 5 into. That's really weird. It's done nothing. Oh no. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are a 6, 7 pair. That's not resolved, is it? Oh dear. Oh, you rotten thing. Bobbins McBobbins face, what's going on? Why can't I just fill this in? I've got a horrible feeling I'm missing something absolutely obvious, because it felt very, very smooth to this point. You know, the 1, 3, 5 being a complete maximum was just joyous, wasn't it? And not too complicated. 5 is in one of 2 places up here. Is it this? I'll come back to this 18 diagonal again then. Is there something I'm not appreciating about this? Ooh, okay, there is something that might be worthy of... Okay, yeah, there's definitely... If you look at the 1, 2 pairs here, they're quite interesting, I think. Because in this box and this box, we're knocking out 1s and 2s from those positions and these positions. Now, what we cannot do is put 1s and 2s. Well, actually, I don't know that we cannot do this. If I did, I'm thinking, I now know that there's at least 1 low digit in each of these little cells here. Let's use grey to show this. So just from a Sudoku perspective in this box, I've got to put 1 and 2 into 2 of those 3 cells. So at least 1 of them has to be in the grey. And the exact same logic applies here. I could hide 1, 1 or 2 in this cell, but at least 1, 1 or 2 needs to be in the grey. So question 1 is, can either of these grey dyads be a 1, 2 pair? So if that was 1, 2, and then that was 2, 5, which is the most it could now be, we would have to put at least 8 in here, and that doesn't work. Wow. So right, so now we get something. That is a 1 or a 2, and that is a 1 or a 2 by Sudoku. We cannot have a 1, 2 pair here, we cannot have a 1, 2 pair here. Now, can I colour these 1s and 2s? No. Yeah, you rotten thing. Okay. So, alright, so let's see. So the maximum I could make this would be a 4, 2 pair, which is 6. But the maximum I could make this would be a 5, 2 pair, which is 7. So 7 and 6 is 13. Oh, that's very... Wow, that's really clever. It's forced again. It's forced again. It's beautiful. The one thing I hadn't appreciated is that this digit is under actually a little bit of pressure. It can't be 9, 8, 7 or 6, so its maximum value is 5. So if I make this 5, now I need 13 more in these cells. But the maximum they can be is 2, 4. The maximum they can be is 2, 5, just from Sudoku. So they have to be 2, 4. This has to be 2, 5. Which means both of those have to be 1. Which is surprising. That cell's a 3 now by the power of elimination. And has that helped me? He says, sounding slightly desperate. 4 in that box is there. 3 in that box is there. 4 goes here, so that's 4. That's 2. 4 is in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. I just need somehow to get these 1s and 2s sorted, I feel. What are those 2 digits? They are 2 and something. 2 and 3. Yes. So that's got to be 3. That's got to be 2. And that 2 does see blue. So we've now established that blue is 1. And therefore purple is 2. And blue is 1. Now has that done it? There's a 2 down here by Sudoku. There's a 1 in one of those cells by Sudoku. Let's make all our 1s purple in the interests of being consistent, and all our 2s purple, all our 1s blue. Okay. What clues have I've done my 15, I've done my 6, I've done my 10. I've sort of done my 135, although I've still got... Oh, so this cell here by Sudoku is now 5 or 7. Can I get rid of any other digits from this cell? Oh, look, 5 here. I can place a 5, which gives me a 7, gives me a 6, gives me a 7, gives me a 7, gives me a 6. Aha! So this is now a 4-6 pair, which I can resolve. 6, 4. Oh, that's not 7. 6 and 4 go in. Those 2 squares are 2, 3, and 5, which means this is 5. This is a 2, 3 pair. This row needs a something, a 6. Let's put it in. Does that fix everything? It must be nearly fixed. What's that digit? 2, 3, or no, 3 or 5. Can't be 2. Oh, bobbins. All right, let's carry on. We've got to do 5s and 7s in these positions. Can we resolve those? Probably, but I can't see how. Let's try... What do you think? This row? 2s, 3s, and 4. Oh, that's a 2. That's a naked single. Gosh, that's important, actually. Look. Because this row needs 2, 3, and 4, and there's a 3, 4 pair here, that becomes a 2, and that gives me my 2, 5 there as well, which gives me my 2, 3, which gives me a 3 there, which gives me a 5 there, which gives me a 4 there, which gives me a 4 there. Wow. So this digit is a 6, it's a naked single, so 6, 7, 5 go in, 7 over here, 6 here, this is a 1, 5 pair, 5, so 5 and 1 can be placed. This column needs 1 and 3, which I can do. This corner needs to be a 6, 7 pair, which I apparently can't do, which is a bit strange. But these squares have got to be 3 and 4, which, I see I can do the 2 as well. 2, 3, 4 go in. And we need 1, 6 and 7. And the 7 goes in the corner. And that's finished the puzzle. What a beautiful puzzle that is. Wow. Absolutely stellar. It's just lovely, isn't it? It's just a lovely idea, executed very minimally with the assistance of a ludicrous clue that you won't see very often in a Sudoku, a 135 diagonal clue, which got deflected all across the piece. So let's just do this one again. Oh, boom. Sort of boom, boom. Oh, I'm making an absolute wreck of it. Well, we saw it earlier. I'm not going to do it again. But it went dum, 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 then out the grid. And it added up to 135, and I loved it. Deflection by Myxo. Myxo, take a bow. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.